No hornworm eating my tomatoes. Meet Big Daddy Rooster. Not a setup. It's not a setup. Just eat it.
You got it.
Oh, there we go. Success. Look, he's just running. I love this game. It's like, it's a chicken race. Oh, pass off. Pass off to the next chicken. Oh, who's got it now? Oh, gobble, gobble. Oh, here we go. Oh, the other one's got it. It's a chicken run. I get so annoyed listening to him do that. I just want to take my shoe off and throw it at him like I'm a Mexican family, right? But is that mildly racist? You know, if I had 3 wishes, one of those at the end would be that people just faint like mountain goats or faint like those fainting goats, not mountain goats, but the fainting goats just fall over when they get offended. Oh, what happened to him? I offended him. He fell over. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Anyways, I guess I'm done goofing off for a minute. I was in a conversation. Will you shut your face? It is hard to get anything done around here. I'm always having to run around and take care of something. Alright, so rust is reality under situational tactics, and it's just something that I came up with. I know it doesn't make much sense to some folks unless you lay it out there and you really put some thought into it. Like reality, and this all boils into firearms and calibers and everything else, and body armor, and not just that, but everything all across the board. And I know a lot of folks talk about reality and prepping and survival and reality and all these different things, and I was having this conversation about calibers and what makes sense to me. And someone was asking along the lines of, what would you do if basically you're put in a situation where it is an apocalyptic type environment, and you always, well, a lot of folks will generalize and base things off of movies that they've seen or something, and you'll see someone doing everything that they do based off of a pistol. And it doesn't matter if it's in close quarters or if it's outside. You'll see where it's something like that. Or someone will say, well, what about a shotgun? And for me, I'm thinking, what makes sense? And you have to put things together. And we were, wife and I were discussing the body armor. What had happened to that 2A3 body armor that had gotten hit by that 44 Magnum in our backyard, and the amount of damage done to that board behind it. That was a board, and it still punched a hole through it like this, and that was insane. And she's like, how far away were you? That's at like 20 feet, something like that. I guess it was roughly 20 feet. That's, in my head, that's about how far away that was, what it seemed like. And it wasn't very far away. Now, 20 feet, handgun, okay. I could hit something, you know what I mean? 50 feet, or you want to do yards, just use yards. But think about the distance and accuracy you have with a pistol at certain ranges. And I remember giving classes on so many little things, making adjustments and adjusting sights, the how-tos, the simple facts you need to know about adjusting sights, and how to visualize how far away someone is, how to roughly visualize. And they've been doing that since the Civil War. It's something that's very easy to figure out using objects for memory, you know how big that object is up close and how far, you know, it being further away, you can kind of gauge that, you know, it's not its actual size anymore. It just gets smaller and smaller as it gets further away. And you get a little bit closer, it starts to get larger, right? Same technique is used with basic, you know, making quick adjustments to a rifle, adjusting your yards quickly, right? And if you, the question come up, and here it is. I'm circling around again. I'm starting to try and give a class again, and I need to stop myself because it doesn't make no sense to just go on about a class like that. Here's the thing: is if a group of people pull up out front and say they want all your stuff, what would you approach that situation with, depending on how far away they are? Usually, if it's outside, you would think, you know, a pistol is not the right choice for a situation like that. You need something like a rifle of some sort, just a little bit heavier caliber. And, you know, I went into saying, you know, something in the 7.62 realm and something along that lines. You know, you want something that's fast, hits hard, and puts them down, you know. And at a distance, you're protecting your family here. It's a lot to think about. You know, it's not just, you don't want to go wounding a bunch of people, especially if people are hopped up on drugs. Because I've said before, the reality of stuff is, what if they're jacked up on something? In the point where something stops moving is when it loses all of its blood. That is, I know it sounds horrible, but that is the key to getting someone to stop coming at you. You have to drain them. You can't just, if they're hopped up on drugs, it's hard to pull off. You know, injuries, if there's no pain, if they don't feel anything, it's just going to bust right through them. You're not going to stop someone like that. And that goes into situational awareness, and it goes into tactics, and it goes into so much more. I started putting it all together, and I just started calling it rust, you know. But rust also went into other things. That was just for like shooting and calibers. And would it make sense to carry a shotgun everywhere I go? No. Shotgun ammo's heavy. I love shotguns, but I think shotgun ammo's heavy. It's great for 50 to 100 yards. That's, once you get out of that ballpark, you start to have a hard time getting anything to do anything, any placement of doing anything whatsoever outside that ballpark. It depends. It depends. It does. If you're switching over to just rifled slugs and stuff, that's a whole nother class for another thing. That's like modifying what would you have and length of barrel. And, you know, most folks these days, to protect their home, they've got 18-inch, 14-inch, they've got 20-inch. Those are the type of typical things you see to protect someone's home. Wife says, well, what would you use a pistol for? Close range, you know. Anything close range is awesome. You know, you're close quarters, you know, and there's particular ways to hold a pistol that make more sense in a tactical situation, right? Holding it in a Windsor position doesn't make much sense if you're in a building, in a room, you know, something like this. You know, you got to come in sideways, push and pull techniques and blah, blah, blah. Memories. But that goes into all that stuff, and that's stuff that just makes sense, and that's the reality of situations. What would you use what for? Each weapon is a tool, right? They're all tools first. Tool to protect yourself, tool to take down a critter, tools for all kinds of things. Now, tyranny, right? You gotta throw them all in there. So PA, come on now. Civil War. Here's the thing. It's good to have both at the same time. It's like clearing out a magazine and switching over to the next weapon. You know, it saves you time and gets you moving. And it goes with, you know, perimeter defense. You have options. What range is it? What should I use? It's pretty tight over here. Might want to use my pistol. You know, that kind of thing. And it also depends on body armor. We know that, you know, there's more and more people out there getting their hands on body armor. And if you're being attacked, now this goes back to the conversation that I had with the wife the other day as well. And it goes into, you know, most folks don't knock over a liquor store with an AR-15. Doesn't make sense to me. And, you know, typically someone's going to use a pistol in situations like that. That also falls into body armor. Most body armor today pretty much will stop a 44 Magnum. It's horrible what it will do to the body, busted ribs, all that stuff, right? But they can still stop it. So it doesn't make much sense in certain situations. If you're under the situation of home invasion, chances are it's involving some that don't quite know as well as what they're doing exactly, but they're doing it. That's the main thing. Give me what you got. Shut up and give it to me now. Put the money in the sack. That kind of thing. And in those situations where it's come to that situation, you know, you might not need, you know, I think, you know, home invasion should require a pistol. You know what I mean? 45 ACP, you know, something along those lines. At least in the 45 gram. 9 mil, you know, like I said before, you got to make sure you're bleeding them out. Just be careful with 9 mil. It is a cutter round, man. I'm telling you, it goes through crap and it just keeps going. This goes back to classes that I've taken along the way in my life. Is, you know, the rumor was always, you know, don't pick something because you're responsible for each round that comes out of the barrel, and it could hit someone that you're actually aiming at, go through it, hit the pregnant lady next to them, that kind of thing. That's always a topic, right? There's always something we come back to and we go, well, that could happen, you know, but it's what that's what we focus on, right? That's going to be part of your focus. Now, rust. The human race, okay? The human race does things better with technology. And technology doesn't quite do so good without the human race. And I've said before that if you're running into apocalyptic times and situations where it's getting to that point, you know, we've all got, I guess it's another thing, we got our own, it's probably about it, but we've all got our own Rubicon to cross, right? It's literally to that point now. It's difficult situation you can't get out of, and you can't just get out of. That's kind of what the meaning I mean by that. It being put in a situation, there's no turning back. And now we're in these situations where we're put in these situations where there's just no turning back. And it kind of goes with a lot of other things that I think about, like Genesis and stuff. Like, I think about these thoughts of the beginning. Like, here it comes. This is it. Or this could be the end, right? There's a lot of stuff going on in my head. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on in your head. And you start to think, well, if for some reason, without a human race, you know, batteries, we were going through our drawer, and wife's like, hey, where'd all the rechargeable batteries go? And I said, you know, I recharge them, kids take them and shove them everywhere, and all the different little device things that, you know, they're puppy alphabet letter things, you know, all these different smart whatevers for learning tools, you know, since there's no schools and stuff, you know, we have a lot of different learning tools, and they take those batteries and stuff them in those things and whatever, and, you know, just whatever. You get the point. And I said, that's another thing that you have to think about when it falls into my rust thought is technology dwindling away. You know, human race isn't there to develop technology. They're not making, you're not going to go get Duracell batteries anymore at the convenience store. It's not happening. A lot of this stuff that you take for granted every day is going to be gone. It's something as simple as like, I think I had mentioned, I'm trying to remember what I was saying earlier, but like the solar panels, right? So we have solar panels and, you know, rechargeable, you know, you have a battery bank set up and you're charging those batteries all the time. And what do you do when you're at a loss, right? There's, you know, they're not manufacturing more batteries. You're not going to go to the Optima place and buy an Optima battery anymore. It's just not going to happen. Shut your face over there, Elvis. I would throw my shoe at him again, but anyway, it falls into situations, and that falls into technology, and also going into situations you don't know what is going to happen. You don't know. We are all in these. Where was I? No plan survives first contact with the enemy, and that is the saying used across the board, leadership, and for me especially, and most folks in the military use the same thing. They will say the same thing. It goes into any conflict and any situation, right? The point of this situation, it's just like, I mean, you could work at Jose Tacos in a taco truck and just flipping tacos all day, and then all of a sudden, you know, you don't know what's going to happen. You got your lettuce laid out, you got your taco shells laid out and stuff. You're flipping beans and bean dip and stuff, and your whatever else, your cheese and everything, right? And you don't expect, you know, a Prius to hit an F-250 and get spun out of control and slam into a telephone pole, and, you know, wires get crossed, and it cooks the poodle riding in the Prius, and it shoots across the flaming poodle, you know, shoots across the interstate and lands into Jose Tacos, and it flips over and catches fire and everything, and, you know, you're covered in batter and grease and cooking and screaming up and down the road. You know, your plan might have been that day to just make freaking tacos and be the end of it, but the apocalypse happened, and now all of a sudden your taco truck's on fire and you're cooking, and, you know, and everything else. So no plan survives first contact with the enemy. You have to make adjustments, just like anyone out there. That's just a point made, because everyone's different. Everyone works different jobs, and, you know, your basic daily routine may change the next day. You know, it might get switched up on you, and it's not your fault that it did. Goes into supplies and everything else, and it's like I was saying it to my wife the other day. It's like, I mean, I said, hell, there's some trucks out there that, like, we were talking about vehicles as we have our BOV and everything else. I said, there's trucks out there, the motor outlives the truck. Like, literally, the truck will fall apart and rust to pieces, but the motor still works. But the thing that keeps the motor from working again is all the other factoids that go into the reality part of preparedness and survival, is the fact that you're running out of fluids, you know, gas goes bad, and it doesn't matter if you have treatments and stuff, and over time, you know, you're just going to run out of stuff. You know, no more gas, no more oil, no more this, no more that. You know, there's not a replacement battery for your truck. You know, I know I'm saying battery a lot, but I think like batteries and oils and nails and screws and things like that, all these different types of hardware items that just start to dwindle away. Wood, sure, need wood, go right there and go get it. You know, just take a camp axe or an axe or whatever else. Get yourself something out there and just chop away. That's easy. But it's the other stuff, right? It's the other stuff. You want water, make a rain catchment. It's easy, you know. Anyone can do that. You know, anyone can do this, that, and the other thing. But it falls into another thing that my wife was telling me about. She's like, I get thinking about those Appalachian people, man. She said sometimes in the hospital they get those folks in there and they live without power, running water, and all those things. But they survive. They survive every single day. And it's not awful for them. They're used to that. That's just the type of life they're used to living. But you've got to think about all this stuff. And like I said before, we're all crossing that that point of no return, right? It's the point of no return. But we are all crossed. It's like that song Kansas? Anyways, hey, that's a good band. Don't knock that. But we all are crossing this type of craziness and this crazy Rubicon that we're on right now. And we're, you know, you're gonna have to think about all the different types of situations, not just those ones that someone says, hey, you know, you're gonna have to do this and during the apocalypse, and it's not gonna be, you know, taking your pickup truck and, you know, smashing through a couple of water puddles and, you know, hiding behind a tree or nothing. It's gonna be so much more than that fall into your chances of survival. And people like me think of things differently than everyone else. If someone invades a camp and they get away, they're coming back, but they're bringing more numbers. It goes into all these different things. If someone is armed, they're armed. Armed means dead. You know, I'm just saying, if there's survivalists out there that are thinking the way that I think, or, you know, something close to it, then you've got to come up with a different strategy and really focus on stuff. And there's a reason why other stuff's going to go away. You got to be prepared for that. It's going to happen. But with that stuff that's going away, doesn't mean go buy more of it. I'm just saying that you got to come up with a different strategy for it. It's like food, you know. Eventually, all the pork and beans are going to be gone. Yeah, you know, this family's going to eat through pork and beans, and, you know, what are you going to? It's like 1 year of food supply. Reality. Doesn't matter how big your family is. It's going to be dried up eventually. If you can't provide food in any other ways, or make fun of me for trying, then you're not going to make it very long. And those who laugh last, laugh best. Just saying. That's all I got. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please share. If you're not subscribed, just do it and help me out. Help a brother out. God bless you guys, and take care.